fastest ROI ever. Going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here. Now, I did mention fastest ROI ever. Now, what I mean by that is these have the potential to ROI before Bitmain releases its KS3. At that point, we're going to see a flood of hash rate hit Kaspa, and these things are definitely going to drop in profitability. But the early couple months, so people who took the risk, gambled, and ordered with IceRiver are going to be rewarded pretty darn good at this point. So we'll show you how to set this thing up and what it looks like. But first, there's a lot of questions on the power supply because unless you pre-ordered, you didn't get one. And it is an option now on their website, and it looks like they are releasing specs, but we can just look at the back here. This is about 90.1 watts. The model is a PA 1932, 100 to 240 volt, 1.5 amp. And then on the output, we got 19 volt, 4.7 amp. Now I'm assuming, because it's just like a barrel plug type of operation here, you could probably get like a universal from Walmart as long as it supports the wattage. Or like I do have on some of my CPU mining rigs, you could probably run this from a server power supply as long as you get the proper barrel plug at the end. But so, you know, there's lots of options available, but those are the specs of the current power supply. Now looking at this thing, it looks like a giant heatsink, and on their website they do say place where there's convection air. So what that means is air blowing on it. So other people on YouTube have been placing fans and stuff on top. I'm going to do that. I wanted to kind of test out this GPURisers one, but the sad thing is it is Molex. I don't have any ATX power supplies running because all my GPU rigs and everything are off. So I'm actually going to be using this AAAWAVE fan right here and plug the fan into the fan controller of this ZSX breakout board. Actually, this is the X11 amp here that is hooked to the E300, so I have it beside. I'm just going to plug it straight in to the fan header ports down there, and it'll run that fan just fine. And if that doesn't work, or you know, it should work in theory, I don't have the right screws, so hopefully it doesn't slide off, but maybe I'll just take this because my GPUs are off. I'll just throw it into the Octominer, let those fans blow on up. But you know, we'll test it out, see what it looks like without a fan, with a fan, and maybe even in the Octominer we could possibly get, you know, higher clocks and be able to hash that much better because it's staying cool with all the air blowing on it. But you can see the design here. That's what it pretty much looks like, is a giant heatsink box at this point. On the front here, we do have a red light, green light, so stop, go. I'm just kidding, that's not what it means, but we have our reset. We do have an SD card there and a USB port. On the back side is where all our plugs will end up going. Let's just kind of flip this thing around. So there's our power plug right there, our barrel plug. We have a USB-C plug and our Ethernet port. And underneath we do have two smaller fans that just kind of keeps, you know, the bottom in there. So this is only supposed to use about 65 watts total and currently make around $30 a day, slowly depreciating as the block reward drops on Kaspa every month and more hash rate keeps going online. So I do have my internet cable plugged in there. I got my watt meter right here ready to go for testing. Now, this does have a manual, and based on early reports of people getting these early, they plug these into like laptops or a PC or something to run the program, get them going there. So I'm going to start default way like I do with Apollos, E300s. I can see if I can detect this on my network first and set it up that way. That seems to be very easy. If this allows it, if it doesn't, I will have to take a different approach here. But let's plug this thing in now and see what happens. So I better not do that. I'll probably spark out because I don't have enough pressure with one hand here. All right, so Ethernet is plugged in, the power is plugged in. We got some red and green lights happening here. So I'm going to see if this is detected on the network or not and go from there. Okay, so I did get into it finally. So what happened here is it was popping up within my router itself, and then I come in and it wouldn't detect within the browser. I moved it to more beside my workstation and all over the place. And then finally I hold the reset button for about 20 seconds, reset the entire machine, and then finally it popped up. So if you run into this issue, do a factory reset by simply holding that button down for 20 seconds. So now we're in here, we're gonna have to log in. Default is username admin, and I believe the password was 12345678. Let's see if that is. It's 8 or 9. There we go. So that's correct. Now we got to change this into English because personally, I don't know about you, I cannot read Chinese. And here we are. We are in the dashboard. We got mining settings, IP settings, all sorts of fun stuff. So we're going to go to our mining settings here. I do have my node currently syncing up as well. So I will see if this will connect to my solo Kaspa node at home after we set this up. But first, let's get this going at the pool. And for the wallet I'm going to use here, I'm actually going to use my Tangem hardware wallet. I wrote down my current balance. That way I know how much I get. I can track this. We can kind of follow ROI and see what it looks like in the future here. But I wrote it down, then we can just add on to that everything we get from here. So I'm using my Tangem hardware wallet. You can find that down in the description below if you're looking for one yourself. All right, so first thing I did was get rid of everything within the dashboard, and I copied my wallet address. I'm going to paste that in. Worker name, I'm going to go with, I guess, Rabid. What is this thing called? KS0. So Rabid KS0. Now we need the pool. If we go to a list of the pools, I'm going to go with kaspapool.org. I haven't used it. Usually I do use Hero Miners. That's where my E300 is on a different wallet address. I'm going to go with Kaspa Pool. Yes, it is the top pool, but it is only at 21%. So we're not centralizing really on a single pool. There's a lot to move, but you know, do whatever you want to do. I am going to test out Kaspa Pool though, because I have never used it yet. So now I'm going to click on start mining, and this is where we'll find our stratum. So USA, I'm going to copy this in. Hey, stop it. Stop it. What's going on? I'm failing at, what the heck? That is so weird. Anyway, so copy that, and for the port, I don't know, I just use TCP for most things here. So I'm going to go with 444 here. That way I have it in the back of my mind. So we're going to go into pool addy here. Then we're going to go to our semicolon. 1, 2, 3, 4, and password is optional. I'm just going to go with X. I'm not sure if it's going to do anything, and then hit save. So everything looks like it succeeded. So that's awesome. Now we're just going to have to wait for this miner to do its thing, ramp up, and we'll see how long it takes till we finally see hash rate at the pool. All right, so I do have 14 accepted, 6 rejected shares so far. It's only been 2 minutes and 58 seconds. The dashboard still isn't saying anything. It looks like it's on 5-minute, 30-minute, and pool rejection here. So it's probably a delay, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. We are detected here at the pool. We can see last share being found. So it was very fast to get up and going at this case, but we still don't really have anything in the dashboard. So let's continue on, and we'll see when we start noticing anything here. All right, so 4 minutes, 54 seconds. So I guess pretty close to 5 minutes here, and we're at the 5-minute hash rate. So the dashboard is a bit delayed based on everything, but you know, it is pretty quick to get up and running. Our difficulty that it adjusted to is getting higher due to the fact that the hash rate's so high. So the accepted shares is slowing down because we're mining at a higher difficulty. In the end, all these shares are for pool mining is to determine your hash rate and so on. What really matters if you're a solo miner is finding the maximum difficulty share to get that block. All right, so that is supposed to be doing about 65 watts or so, and looking at here, we're doing about 71.8. Now I do notice that these meters versus like the Drock meters and stuff you see us using on 240 volt and stuff, they do show a little higher than what the Drock meters usually show on 120 volt. So I've been noticing that as well, that 120 volt might not be 100% accurate, but they look a lot better on 240. Anyway, I'm going with this thing actually drawing 71 watts right now. As for the thermals, we can see here that the top is definitely warm on the top of this big heat sink looking thing. We're going to come down here a little bit, and you can kind of see there everything. So it is warm. I don't have the fan on yet. I'm going to place that fan on, let it sit for a bit, and see if the thermals look like they help or change or anything at all. All right, so I got the fan on there, and you can see it's just plugged into the 4 pins on this breakout board from Parallel Miner. I do have links to all this stuff down in the description, and this is what is running the E300. So I can feel air blowing straight out of these fans like the heatsink should. So it's blowing down and then out and back. So it's going between each grooves and dispersing all that heat. So if anything type of throttling was to happen, I wasn't noticing any throttling yet. It's only been running for like 20 minutes, but I figured I'd just throw the fan on and see kind of what's going on here. And based on this, we can already see that it is helping. Right underneath the fan there, it is no longer red. And I just turned this thing on and picked up the thermal camera, and it's already doing a decent job. And again, I don't have it bolted in or anything. It's just sitting there. I'm using the cable in that little groove right there to kind of hold the fan. So, you know, DIY, cheap as possible. Don't need to buy any type of bolts. That just adds to an ROI, guys. All right, so things are looking okay here. We're mining the pool. Everything's just fine. Last 5 minutes, we're at 123 gigahash, blah, 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 blah. And our temp's at 36 and 41. Now, before I put the fan on, I think I was around 44 and 38. So our temperature is coming down with that fan on, which is to be expected. The pool is saying so far we've earned 11 Kaspa. We've hardly been online at all. And we're currently at 86.13 of a current, and obviously our averages aren't there. Regardless, we got this working. We're all good. Now I want to move into, will this connect to the node? I don't know if it will or not. So I got a few things set up here. We got the node. It is fully in sync. It's updated to the latest version of the KDX app here, 2.12.3. And then we're going to start our bridge. So I'm going to come into the bridge here and then turn that on, close this out, and we can see our bridge did connect right here. Incoming RPC connection from here. All good. I got the wallet turned on. Now this is my node wallet. This is what I got the E300 mining to. It's been getting about 500 Kaspa every 2 to 3 days here. It's been fairly consistent even with the latest increase of the ASIC hash rate. Hash rate hasn't really gone up that much yet. So we're still looking okay on the E300, at least until Bitmain drops theirs. But now I wrote down all this as well because I'm still not sure. I'm going to use my Tangent wallet to mine to this, and then depending if we find a block or not, I'll realize, is it going to the Tangent wallet or is it going straight to the node if the node finds the block? So that's something I'm going to kind of confirm here if we can find a block, but first we got to see if we can connect here. So I'm going to now go into our miner config and set it up for our Kaspa bridge. All right, so I entered the IP of where I do have my node running on my little node box, 192.168.170. Obviously, depending on your network, it's going to be different. It doesn't matter if people see this IP. This is internally based on my network. It's nothing on the public outside here. And the port is quadruple, 4 5s here happening on the ports here. So I'm just going to save that. Operation succeeded. It's going to have to do its thing, and I'm just going to wait. And actually it looks like, okay, it looks like it connected. So it did actually connect it as soon as I hit that. So now it's removing clients, client disconnected. I don't know what that one is, but now I'm just going to wait and see what things look like once this thing does engage. So that is the proper IP there. So that's correct. So yeah, it looks like I set this part up right. Now we'll just see if it begins mining to our node or not. All right, guys, so it did blow up on me. Well, it didn't blow up and quit and stuff, but it's saying it's offline. The power is still saying 71, so it's pretending it's still mining, but nothing in the dashboard is working. I'm not getting anything for any type of hash rate here. We're well over the 5-minute mark where we should be seeing any type of hash rate. So it looks like node mining, at least home node mining, is not a thing. So I'm going to actually have to factory reset this. I also tried unplugging it, plugging it back in. The green light won't turn on anymore. So it does not support mining to your own node at this point, at least for the Windows node. So I remember them saying something in the past here about they will have a updated firmware for this to be an option. Now, obviously, depending on how long that takes, once the KS3s drop from Bitmain, it's probably not going to be worth it. So they got to hurry up on that. Regardless, you know, I'm going to go back to the pool here, do a factory reset and go back to the pool because we cannot mine solo to our own node. All right, so we are back on the pool here, and it's been running for about 8 hours, 22 minutes since I went back online. At the pool over here, we can see it's been, since the initial ramp up, it's been about 10 hours, 9 whatever to 19:15, so close to around the 10-hour mark. But let's go into the user interface. And as you can see, there's a lot of dips going on here, and I've seen a lot of people mentioning this. Now, I don't think it's anything to worry about at all. So unless it goes to like 0 and you're not hashing, you might have some issues. Our temperatures, everything's looking good. I don't think it's throttling at all. Now, what's happening here is if you follow the difficulty, when the difficulty goes up and it changes it, you're going to be finding a lot less shares because they're only going to count higher difficulty shares. When you find one, it's going to take your mining to a higher difficulty. So you won't find a share unless you hit one at least at the difficulty you're mining to. So because you're finding so many less shares, it's going to make it look like your hash rate's a lot lower. Now, the lowest point here, it looks like we went down to about 29 gigahash, but I'm not seeing anything like like that in the dashboard. We are seeing dips, yes, but the lowest here is about 81.5, which was about an hour ago or so. So, you know, overall on average, we're not hitting anything like the dashboard. So I would just say when it comes to the dashboard, unless it drops down to 0, you could probably just completely ignore it, because watch the difficulty, and that's probably all that this is doing based on your current hash rates and stuff on, you know, the variable difficulty that you're mining at your pool. Another thing here, in that 10 hours, I'm at 521.72, which is about 2 to 2.5 days of the E300. I've been getting those 500 payouts every 2 to 3 days here, and it's been about 10 hours online at the pool, and I've already surpassed that. So that's pretty crazy here. I got the minimum payout set at 2,000. It's estimating about 1,267, but remember, we still haven't fully ramped up to get that full 24-hour hash rate average. Now, I don't know what it's basing the estimated earnings on. It might just go based on your current, and that's why this is probably going to fluctuate quite a bit. But until I actually see a full 24-hour hash rate here, I don't know really how well we're performing at the pool. Now let's have a look at that profitability, and that's what a lot of people care about. And I know Bitmain's KS3s are supposed to release sometime in August, and I have all these numbers worked out with the block reward reduction and everything for August. So right now, Kaspa current price, it is seeing a little spike today, just like the main crypto market, so that's a good thing. But we're making about $33 a day with 1.2 petahash currently on the network. Now I am up to 71 watts at the wall, which we saw earlier, previously at the 65 as advertised, and based on the drock meters, which is still around the 65, 68, I believe, based on other people's videos. But at the wall, based on the meter I have and not the drock meter, we're doing about 71 watts. And that moves it up to about 18.7 cents per day is what it costs to run this miner, which isn't very much at all. At 11 cents per kilowatt hour. But the current profitability here is $33 per day that this thing is making. That's pretty crazy. Now, in August, if 2,000 of the Bitmain beasts go online and the current price remains, that'll bump up our hash rate up to 17.6 petahash here, and it will only be making about 27 cents. Actually, this isn't right. This is actually if Kaspa drops to less than a cent, this thing will still be profitable with 2,000 miners online. That's pretty crazy to think about. Kaspa can drop to way under a penny and we will still be profitable with 2,000 KS3s. I wasn't paying attention to what's going on here. Here is the current price and 1,000 miners online, and we're still making $4.12 with 1,000 miners. Now here is the KS3 with 5,000 miners online. Will this happen? Eventually, yes, but it'll probably take all year, you know, depending how many sell. Cadena, I think they're still only at like 2,000 or 3,000 K3s actually going online, so not that many are actually out there, but we can see what happened to Cadena. Regardless, this thing is still going to be profitable at that 5,000 mark, and you know, this is probably a good 4, 5, 6 months away at least, but we still don't know. As each month goes by as well, the block reward does reduce, so that's another aspect we have to keep in back of our mind. So the big thing here with any of these IceRiver ASICs is that they're releasing a couple months prior to Bitmain. We have about a month and a half left now. And when those ASICs do go online from Bitmain, that's where we're going to see the big spikes in the hash rate. Now, kind of to work it out here, 2,000 miners is about 16,600 terahash or 16.6 petahash, and 5,000 miners of the KS3s is 41,500 terahash or 41.5 petahash, and we're only hanging out at 1.2 petahash on the network right now. So these things will stay profitable based on the Kaspa price through a lot of these explosions on here. But the big thing is the initial month and a half here, month and a half to 2 months. Who knows? Bitmain may see a delay. They have seen a lot of delays in the past. So whoever has these obviously is wishing for delays, and whoever ordered a Bitmain KS3 obviously want them online ASAP. But you know, depending what happens, we don't know what the future is going to hold for us. These early days could ROI these things very, very fast. And one more thing to take note is IceRiver actually dropped the price on all of these machines. So as you can see here, instead of these were what, $15.99 or $16.99, they're down to $999. And these are now 8.5 and these are 15.6. So I know when the first happened, everyone's like, oh, whoever bought an IceRiver, oh, that sucks. Now you can get them way cheaper. But IceRiver, unlike, it's pretty much unheard of for an ASIC company to do this. So what happened here is they actually gave rebates and refunds and covered, I guess, import fees and stuff, depending where you're from and, you know, how much it costed. They pretty much got all the difference back from IceRiver because of this drop. You would not hear Bitmain do that. Bitmain will try to rob you blind. They'll charge you double, you know, if they can get, if there's a way to do it, even though they drop the price or something. Like, that's just how shady they are. So seeing IceRiver actually do this on top of everything looking pretty legit, and they're giving money back because they dropped the prices so early, that's crazy and unheard of in the ASIC manufacturing department. So, you know, good on IceRiver for actually doing that. And that made a lot of customers actually happy because of it as well. Now, one thing I am still unsure of is why did they drop the prices and so soon? So I have a couple theories, you know, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. This video is getting pretty long, so hopefully you guys made it this far. Let me know if you actually did or not. But why are they dropping the price so much? One, maybe they have a lot of stock and they want to get rid of it. Or two, they're just trying to get all the money away from Bitmain as they possibly can at this point, and that means less Bitmain miners to go online because everyone just bought up all the IceRivers, which makes sense. You know, that'd be actually awesome. Then we don't have to worry about those massive KS3s coming online. Regardless, you know, I don't really know what's going on here, but the prices are dropped and it looks better for anyone picking them up. All right, guys, so we have been online for a while, and this does pretty much wrap up our video, but I want to do one last check here. It's been 8 hours, and we can see that this fan is definitely keeping this thing a lot cooler. From the solid red that it was along the top before to, you know, some areas are actually looking green right in the middle there. So that's awesome. So that fan right there is definitely keeping things cool. I will not have to throw that inside of an Octominer, but you know, that still might be something fun to try out. Also, when I did reset this, I just want to go into the point here, that button right here, you just hold that down for 20 seconds. At about the 15-second mark, both lights will start blinking, and then I just held it for another 5 seconds, let it go, and everything was restarted to factory defaults, and I just have to input the pool. So if you ever run the issues or this isn't detected for you, just do that. Well, hopefully I did get everything covered for you guys, as well as my thoughts. This thing is very good right now. In the future, the profitability is definitely going to drop, but it's still going to remain profitable depending on that Kaspa price. So if you have any questions or anything else you want me to try out on this thing right here, let me know down below. I will see you on the next one. Rabid out.